I never told my wife about the house. Should have, maybe. But we were young then, that yellow box with the peeling green roof holding its breath where the sidewalk ended. Quaint, people said. Quaint means old, I learned. The basement had stone walls that smelled like wet coins. Went down one evening to grab detergent, bare feet on cold dirt. The light bulb buzzed like a dying hornet. You know how cellars have that weight? This was different. Felt like the dark between the shelves was breathing. Found the laundry basket crooked, didn't put it there. The corner behind the furnace, that dim pocket we stuffed with paint cans, was pulsing. Not a shadow. Absence. A mouth. My throat closed. Stepped closer. One stupid step. The furnace groaned and light flickered. In that half-second flash, I saw them, handprints on the stones. Dozens. Small. Reddish-brown, smeared upward like something clawed at the walls. Child-sized. My knees locked. Couldn't look away. Then the bulb steadied, and they were gone. Upstairs, my wife hummed always through her teeth, marigold sheets in her arms. Linen closet stuck again, she said, smiled. Normal. I bit my tongue. Let her believe the furnace rattle kept me awake that night. The next morning, the closet door swung open smooth as a lie. No resistance. Marigold sheets lay folded too perfectly, corners sharp as bone. I ran a thumb over the top sheet, cold, almost damp, though the room was dry. My wife's humming drifted in from the kitchen, but it had changed. Lower, a tuneless vibration like a wire strained to snapping. I found her scrubbing the same patch of countertop, knuckles white. You sleep okay? She asked, not glancing up. The dirt floor felt spongy under my slippers, like walking on a lung. I traced the stone wall where the handprints had been. Palm-sized patches of grit came away on my fingertips. The tap, tap, tap came from inside the walls. The bathroom mirror fogged while I brushed my teeth. Wiping it revealed a smudge, chin level, a tiny handprint, glowing faintly before dissolving into steam. I held my own hand against the glass. Smaller. A child's. Shadows swelled in the corners, thick and liquid. Amen, I thought absurdly. As if praying. As if something prayed, Bach. The hallway lights dimmed as I passed, bulbs shrinking into weak orange embers. I gripped the banister wood grain, now soft, pulsing faintly beneath my palm. My wife stood at the foot of the stairs, holding a stack of those marigold sheets. Humming that new vibration, the one that made my molars ache. Downstairs, the furnace's breath smelled like wet clay. The tap, tap, tap had multiplied, not just in the walls now, but the ceiling, the floor. Syncopated. Hangry. I pressed my ear to the cold stones where the handprints had been. A wet intake of air answered inches from my cheek. The sheets appeared folded on the workbench. I hadn't brought them down. The top fold twitched. I peeled back a corner. Damp earth. A coil of fine blonde hair. The furnace light died. In the dark, the sheets rustled, sliding like skin. My thumb found the spider crack in the wall. It throbbed, warm. I pulled back a splinter of mortar. The door creaked open. A spill of hallway light. She stood there, humming through a mouthful of tarnished screws. Her teeth clicked against the screws as she hummed metal on enamel, a sound that scraped between my ribs. The furnace coughed. Heatless flame bloomed behind its grate and slow ripples blew at the edges. The vibration in her throat deepened, the screws shifting like silver tongues. The hallway light guttered as shadows stretched thin, spooling into the room like thread. Something fibrous pressed against my thumb, lodged in the wall, crack pulse against pulse. Her neck creaked downward, wrong angles grinding. Her wrist was clay cold beneath my grip, skin alive with subcutaneous movement like stones in a flesh sack. A screw clogged with grave dirt rolled to my foot as linen sheets behind us sighed open, wet, hollow, blistering. Her too many fingers pressed cold against my pulse as the house's vibration swelled, a subsonic hum in bone marrow. "Don't scream," she rasped, voice grating with soil and rusted hinges. Her breath stuttered in time with the wall's pulse. I couldn't look away from her eyes, not her eyes, my mother's eyes, but wrong, like something had eaten them from the inside and worn the hollows. The room stank of blood now, or was that memory? The crack beneath my thumb widened. Cool, slippery pressure slid along the side of my hand, not roots. Tendons. The house was all muscle and marrow. Her fingers tightened. "Chores first," she wheezed, nodded at the sheets. They were standing now, empty, trembling, seams splitting into dark smiles. The furnace spit out a ribbon of ash that snaked around my ankles, binding without touching. Shadows lapped at my shoes. High above, the ceiling groaned. Something tapped along the rafters, but when I looked, the sound skittered behind me. Always behind. The mold on the eastern wall, gray-green velvet rot, was different now. If I didn't look directly, it curled, branched, reached. "It's learning you," she said, tilting her head until her vertebra popped. A wet pop, a green pop. The linen shivered closer, whispering in a dialect of static and teeth. She jammed another screw between her molars, chewing. "We'll need to dress you for dinner." Behind her, the hall mirror reflected nothing but a spill of shadow in the mold. Cold spread through my wrist where she gripped me, not numbness. Change, the flesh there puckered, grainy. "Fire doesn't cleanse here," she laughed, low and clotted. "It feeds." The cold climbed my arm like ivy, rooting under skin. My fingernails splintered, revealing fissures that wept sap, not blood. Shadows pooled thicker around my knees. Anchoring. The sheets rustled closer, threadbare tongues licking at my shins. Her grip twisted, a lover's caress. The bones in my wrist clicked, rearranging. "You're late," she hissed. Her breath was sour milk and lichen, each word a beetle scuttling into my ear. Behind her, the mirror's glass bled downward, viscous and black. The furnace belched. Flames licked the bedframe inside, my name bubbling in the wood's blisters. Ash veined the air, settling into my hair, my pores. My scalp prickled. "Roots knitting? No, no, no." She spit a screw into her palm. It squirmed, a silver maggot. "Hold still," she crooned, pressing it to my temple. Coolness bloomed, then a drilling whir. I felt it burrow, threading something metallic through the marrow. The mold sighed. When I glanced sideways, it had fingers now, pale, spored things flexing in the plaster. The crawling in my arm quickened. Tendons writhed, sprouting fibrous hairs that reached toward the walls. Down the hall, silverware clattered. Shadows sharpened into chairs, a table. The walls peeled back, rib-like, exposing a cavity where a heart should have been. Black, glistening, beckoning. Her thumbprint lingered on my temple, smudging into a bruised blue chrysalis. My jaw locked mid-breath, air tasted of iron filings and damp cellulose. The walls breathed with me. No, through me. Each exhale green-tinged, spores trembling in my ribs. The table stretched. Bone splints fused with plywood rot. Plates clattered, not porcelain but compressed beetles, their wing cases iridescent with oil-slick decay. My chair gripped the backs of my thighs, velveteen mold parting to cradle me. The screw in my temple pulsed. Memory unspooled, not mine. A child's laughter filtered through floorboards, my mother's hands knotting rope into nooses for roses. Wait, I never had a mother. Not X. She served first, a tureen of thickened shadow, ladle grating against its ribs. Steam coiled, whispering my kindergarten teacher's name. Mrs. Alvarez. She retired to Arizona. Died in Arizona. My reflection pooled at its base, a tar puppet straining to stand, its mouth stretched, miming words my throat couldn't shape. You've always lived here. I am else. The heart cavity pulsed. Silverware shivered, aligning toward it. My own ribs ached, warping outward, ready to split, ready to house. The screw turned itself, a wet counterclockwise grind that loosened something vital behind my eyes. My skull creaked open like overripe fruit. Velvet threads tangled down my cheeks, not mold but roots, drinking the salt of me. It raised the ladle. The heart cavity yawned. Silverware tremble hummed, stitching my wrists to the arms of the chair. My ribs split, gentle, inevitable, not pain, but unmaking. The walls sighed into me, their rhythm syncing with the throb of that impossible organ. Moss flowered beneath my nails. This is where it happens, I realized, not in my mind, but in the spores. This is where I began. Through buckling plaster I glimpsed a girl, fingers made of shadow and attic dust, setting a table for guests who'd never come, pouring tea into cracked porcelain, waiting. Her head turned. My breath stilled. The mold took my eyes last. A relief, like slipping into a bath left warm decades ago. Now I am the draft under the door, the rot beneath the sink. The smile etched into the wallpaper, patient, ready to welcome the next one home.